Hello Year 7. Today we want to connect percentages with our fractions and decimals. So this is the first time we're going to be talking about percentages. Percentages are always an amount out of 100. Percentages are a useful way of comparing fractions. Okay, so it's important to memorize some of the most commonly used conversions between fractions, decimals, and percentages. So we have this little table below here that we're going to fill in that will hopefully help a little bit with some of our conversions. So if I have one whole, okay, that will be represented by, it's not really a fraction, it's a whole number 1 and a whole decimal of 1. A whole is considered 100%. It is my total amount, 100%. Half, written as a fraction 1/2, or a decimal 0.5, is a percentage of, we halve that 100%, so it would be 50%. 1/3, which is 1/3, that is one of the recurring decimals, which is 0.3 repeating. To convert that to a percentage, you would times it by 100 and you would get 33, and you could write that as a third if you wanted it in fraction form, or it would also be 33.3 repeating if you wanted to keep it in decimal form. A quarter is 1/4. A quarter is half of a half, so we halve the 0.5 to be 0.25 as a decimal, and we half the 50%, it would be 25%. 1/5 means 1/5. That is the same as a decimal of 0.2, and that is 20%. To go from the decimal to the percentage, you just times by 100 and move it over 2 places. 1/10 is 1/10. That's a decimal of 0.1 because remember it's in the tenths position. And again, if I times that by 100, that would be 10%. And the last one in this chart to remember is 1/100, which is a decimal of 0.01 because it's in the hundredths position, and that would be 1%. Okay, so using that table or information that is given to you, we can do these examples over here. If I am given that 1/5 is 20%, I could use that to help me find 3/5. Okay, 1/5 is 20%. So if I have 3/5, it means I want to go 3 lots of 20%. 3 lots of 20 is 60%. If I want 6/5, it means I have 6 lots of 20, which is 120%. If I have 11/5, that means I want 11 lots of 20. 11 times 20, we do 11 times 2 is 22, and the 0 on the end. Okay, so that was all using that 1/5 was 20%. In example 2, using your knowledge of fractions, convert the following to decimals and percentages. So, we want to convert 17/10. Okay, so let's do this first of all as a decimal. So 17/10 is written like that as a fraction. Now tenths means the 7 would need to be in the tenths position. So as a decimal, the 7 would go there and the 1 would get bumped up in front of the decimal place, so 1.7. Or in other words, 17 divided by 10, you move the decimal point 1 place to the left, imagining that the decimal place is here at the end. 1 jump back would make 1.7. Then to do this as a percentage, 17 tenths. To turn something into a percentage, it's easiest if you can write the fraction out of 100. So I could find an equivalent fraction to that, making the denominator 100, by timesing by 10. If I times the bottom by 10, I have to times the top by 10, which would give me 170 on the top. Okay, so if I can write it over 100, that means whatever the number is on the top is the percentage. So that is 170%. Okay, let's try that again for part B. I have 9 quarters. So 9 quarters, let's do this as a decimal first. 9 quarters means 9 over 4. Let's try to make this out of 100. So to get 4 to 100, I would need to multiply by 25. That means I need to multiply the 9 by 25. Now that's not a timetable that too many people know, so you might need to come over to the side of your page and go 25 times by 9. 9 times 5 is 45. 2 times 9 is 18, plus on 4 makes 22. So 9 times 25 means my numerator is 225. Now because I've been able to write that over 100, to write that as a decimal, I need to divide by 100, which means I take the imaginary decimal place that's here at the end, and I go 2 places to the left, so 2 jumps, 1, 2, and that would become 2.25 as a decimal. As a percentage, however, in doing the decimal, I already wrote my answer as a fraction over 100. So 225 over 100, that simply means that I have a percentage of 225%, whatever the number is on the top of that 100. Okay, one more to go, 2/3. So 2/3 is written like this as a fraction, 2 over 3. Now this is not a very nice fraction to have because it's one that actually goes to a recurring decimal. Now in the table that we had on the previous page, 1/3 was one of the numbers that we had in there. 1/3 was equal to the decimal 0.3 repeating, or 0.333 repeating like that. If I have 2/3, that means I have twice as much as that. I want to double that, which is going to make 0.666 repeating. In other words, 0.6 with a dot above it. So that would be the decimal answer, 0.6 with a dot above it. If I want that as a percentage, we would multiply by 100, which means move the decimal point over 2 places. So 1, 2 would make 66.6 repeating percent. So here is the decimal answer, and this one is the percentage. Okay, so there are quite some complicated questions in there. This is your work for the day. I just want to show you the first few to get you started. So we want to write each of these as a fraction. You can use the conversion table in your theory book to help if you need to, and make sure that you simplify all answers. So all you need to do is, if there is a whole number at the front, leave it at the front of your fraction. And we have 75, the smallest unit here is 100th. So it's 75 over 100. Okay, we're just converting decimals to fractions. Okay, it has been converted to a fraction, but we need to simplify it as well. So to simplify it, the 5 stays the same. I'm looking to divide something into the 75 and the 100 there. Both of those numbers can be divided by 25. 75 divided by 25 goes 3 times, and 100 divided by 25 goes 4 times. Okay, let me show you another one. Let's do 21. To convert that decimal into a fraction, we have the number 5. It's going to go on the top. It is in the tenths position, so that means it's going to go over 10. All I want to do now is simplify that fraction, and both of those numbers can be divided by 5. 5 divided by 5 goes once, and 10 divided by 5 goes 2 times. Okay, so have a go of the rest of those questions and see how you go.